Hey everyone, welcome to my podcast, or welcome back if you've been here before. I'm pretty happy that you're here. My name is Rhonda Lavoie, and I am the host of TUF Coffee Shop Talk and a real estate agent in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Each week, you can join me here as I review the topic of the week from my weekly collaboration held at a local coffee shop. And each week, we have a different topic that touches on many aspects of our lives. And I feel it touched anybody, no matter what their adventure is in life. If you're self-employed, entrepreneur, or working in corporations, stay-at-home parent, retired, or in between jobs, I think there's just a little bit for everyone. And this week, we did things a little bit differently. We've actually started a bit of a new tradition. Each month, the first Thursday of the month, we're going to spotlight on one of our members. And we're going to have that member lead the conversation. They can pick the topic and talk about whatever it is that they're interested in or that they think will be of value to the group. And this week, Megan, who's an Affinity mobile mortgage specialist, she picked the conversation of positivity. So positive thinking, ultimately, and its impact on our success. And I love this so much for so many reasons. One, I love to talk about positivity. I love how something that is so simple and something that we know so much about when you really start to dive into it, but we don't talk about it enough, and we don't actually implement the things as powerfully as we probably could. So for Megan to bring this conversation to the table really excited me because it means that she is interested in those things and that she wants others to also think differently and how that can really impact our lives. So she started off the conversation with diving into the power of positivity and how it can have a profound impact on our personal and professional lives. Positive mindset has tangible benefits to mental health, productivity, and overall success. It's a sentence that, is easy to say, and we all know it's true, but again, we just don't talk about it enough, and we don't actually put the things into play and into power in our lives. So for her, positive thinking isn't the abstinence of challenges or a tough reality. It's the approaching these obstacles with a positive and optimistic attitude. She tries her best to focus on the good in any situation, but it doesn't always come naturally, which is so true, right? Like, it's something we have to work at. We don't all wake up every morning and go, yeah, I'm just going to be bubbly and positive all the time. Life happens, things get in the way. And we have to come up with different tactics and different tools and different approaches to be able to stay in that mindset or to recover and get back into that mindset. She had an example, and this one was really fun. She said that her best friend Jordan and her in high school would make each other fake smile when we were having a bad day. We were teenage girls with shitty boyfriends, so this happens a lot. What started out as a joke turned into great lessons. Whenever we would fake smile, the smile would turn real and then turn into a giggle and then turn into a sigh of relief, and we could be okay. This still holds true today, and sometimes when life gets really hard, I find myself giggling and think it's due to all the training I had in fake smiling. And we talked about how just the act of smiling, like making your cheeks go up and having that feeling, actually changes how you actually feel. So forcing yourself to smile not only makes you giggle because you're looking at each other and literally making funny faces, but it also puts you in that act of smiling, and it changes things for you. So little did she know back in high school, she was actually doing things that psychologists today would encourage her to do. So good on her. Then she had another example. She says that I always say that if you don't really vibe with someone, there will always be at least one thing you have in common or one thing you deeply respect about them. Maybe you both like animals, and I focus on that, and working on building a relationship around this. So no, this would, it doesn't transform into a perfect relationship, but it allows her to remind herself that even if I don't agree with everything this person is saying or does, we will have similarities. So, that having the like of animals in common, or perhaps you have, a TV show that you like together. So instead of focusing on the things that are you dislike about that person, and dwelling on those things, and which often will build and snowball and just create more negative thoughts, focus on the things that you do like about that person and remind yourself of all the positives, because that will just take you in a better direction and create a better relationship with that person. Now, you may never be best friends with that person, and you may always have a bit of a separation or boundaries, but at least you can be positive about it and you can have that positive interaction with them instead of going to the negative piece of it. And I love this because it is easy for any of us to go into a negative tailspin when there's something or someone that is bothering us. And it's especially easy to do in company of others. You'll start with a rant, and then that rant will snowball, and then you'll all be talking bad things about someone. But if you can do it the other way and just swing it back a little bit. So maybe you start with the rant and then like, okay, but they really do have these good qualities too. I'm going to try and focus on those things instead. You'll end the rant, you'll end that snowball effect, and you'll ultimately feel better, because diving into that negativity really is serving no purpose, and it is certainly not serving us, because it just will bring all of your mood down. So switching it to the positive, even if it's just something small, is only going to benefit you. Then we talked about benefits of positive thinking. Again, some of these are super obvious to us, and we know them, but just talking about them again and addressing them and just being more aware, there's just no negative that can come from that. So one of the positive things or benefits of it is improved mental health. It's a bunch of research around how positive thinking can reduce stress and decrease the risk of depression and anxiety. There's studies around, just how physically stress can affect our bodies and our minds, and how if we can reduce that amount of stress, of course, it'll improve our mental health. Another benefit would be enhanced problem solving skills. So positive thinkers are more creative and resourceful. They see opportunities where there are obstacles, like any inventor that has ever existed. They saw a gap and provided a solution. So by thinking positively, you think about how you can improve something, or how you can make someone's life better, or how you can change something so that it improves a situation. You just think differently than if you had that negative mindset. Another benefit would be better relationships. Positivity fosters stronger and more supportive relationships, both personally and professionally. And our group, our coffee shop talks, are an excellent example of that. So we all go into it with a positive mindset. We all bring such great things to the table. And because we all have that, our relationships are growing and prospering because we're fostering that together. If you have negative relationships, they're only going to contract. There's no room for growth in a negative mindset and a negative way of thinking, simply because you're thinking in a removing yourself of situations. So that negativity. And when you have that, it's just eventually going to shrink and shrink and shrink until you don't have the relationship anymore. Where the opposite is true of positive thinkers, because that positivity supports each other, and you start to grow and want to expand and want to do better and continue the relationship. And you're naturally drawn to people who have positive outlooks, both professionally and personally. Another benefit, increased resilience. So this one is big for me. And she actually knew it because she wrote right in her notes that Rhonda always mentions that the quicker you can bounce back, the better you are. And she puts in brackets or something like that. And I love this so much because it's true. Yes, it's important to address or realize when bad things happen. We can't not accept that they happen. We need to acknowledge that they happen. We need to learn from them. We need to even sit in it for a little while to really understand what that means. But the faster you do that, so learn from it, gather from it, sit in it, and bounce back, the sooner you can grow with it and take um, that cue from whatever that hardship was and swing it into a positive. And the faster you can bounce back, the less it'll drag you down, and the sooner you can start growing more. Because really, any negative situation. So anytime, it could be a negative conversation, it could be something bad that happened to you. It can be like in my business, it can be, a deal crashing, or a potential buyer or seller working with someone else, or whatever those things may be. The sooner that you learn from those things and move forward and just don't sit in that negativity, the sooner I can get on with trying to find new clients, or, learning from my mistakes and documenting better ways to do things and just moving forward. So increased resilience. And then the last benefit that we talked about was the higher productivity. Positive thinking boosts innovation and energy levels. When we believe in our abilities, we are more likely to achieve our goals. Another aspect to this is setting realistic goals. So if you set goals that are knowingly out of reach, it's going to be very challenging for you to be able to achieve them. So then you don't get that endorphin, that boost from achieving it. So setting achievable goals. Now, you don't want to set them too low so that when you get there, you're like, yeah, I knew I was going to do that. It just doesn't have that feel. But setting that goal so that it's just a little bit out of reach. And when you get there, it'll just make you feel even more positive. So yes, higher productivity, positive thinking boosts that motivation and that energy level. It's hard to be motivated to reach your goals if you dwell on all the things that aren't going to go right. If you think positively about all the things that will go well and how you'll overcome any of those barriers, you will be highly productive. Next, we talked about how to become more positive. And some of these things are things that we've talked about before, which I think is brilliant because they all wrap in, again, in the same conversation. So, gratitude practice. A while back, we had a whole talk on practicing gratitude because it really is something that you need to practice. It doesn't just happen. You need to be intentional about it. And we had a gratitude jar that I would bring to coffee shop talks each week. And you would simply write something that you were grateful for. And I encourage you to try this. It doesn't have to be a jar. It could be a journal. It could be just simply taking a moment to think during the day and be intentional about it. But if you think about things that you're grateful for, something that you have gratitude for, it could be something that happened, it could be someone, it could be a situation. When you do that, it is impossible. I dare to say it is impossible to frown, to feel bad. When you think of things you're grateful for, it will make you smile and make you feel uplifted. So just practicing that gratitude will increase that positive energy that you have. And it's something that I would encourage you to try and add to your day. You could do it in the morning. When you first get up, that's when I do mine. When I do my morning routine, you can do it before bed because it's an easy time to decompress and think about the things that happen during the day. But frankly, there doesn't have to be a specific time. Don't block yourself into, oh, well, I didn't do it this morning, so now I can't do it. Just do it. If you try and intentionally do it once a day, you could even start a little list that says, these are the days of the week, or on your calendar, you can just cross off the day when you did it so that you can have that gratification that you did it. And you're not boxing yourself into having to do it at a specific time. One of the other ways that you can um, become more positive would be positive affirmations. And for a long time, I struggled with this. I struggled with affirmations. I thought it was that I had to sit in the mirror and I had to look at myself and I had to yell at myself how great I was. And it just felt ridiculous. I just could not get on board. And what changed that for me was I read the book called The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. And he has what's called savers. And um, one of the things that goes with savers. So savers is silence, affirmations, visualizations, exercise, reading, and scribing. That's what savers stands for. So affirmations are in there. And what was really cool is that he showed me a way to be able to do affirmations that made sense for me. It wasn't the having to talk to myself and convince myself that I was these things. But what's interesting is how he taught me to do it has morphed into me learning that I have these things that I could do that with. And I'll give you an example. So every day in the morning, I do, like I said, my morning routine. And part of that is my affirmations. And I have it on my phone so that it's with me wherever I go. So wherever I'm doing my morning routine, I have it. And I just want to read to you one of the affirmations that I read to myself. So here it is. I am 100% committed to growing TUF Institute, TUF Collaborative. This is important to me because having more people in the membership will just make it more amazing, more awesome. Fostering the connection and collaboration makes me feel good. Helping others, even in a little way, feels good. Watching them grow and blossom is amazing. Growing TUF Institute and Collaborative will allow me to help more people. To ensure I follow through, I will commit at least 15 minutes a day to it. So how Elrod does this in the Miracle Morning is he gives you a script or a prompt, and it says, I am 100% committed to, and then you fill in the blank. This is deeply meaningful to me because, fill in the blank. To ensure I follow through, I will, and fill in the blank. And what this has changed for me is it's put actions behind the affirmation. So not only am I saying, this is what I'm committed to do, this is what I want to achieve, but I'm telling myself how I'm going to do it. And what is interesting is what's come out of this is what people would know as affirmations, because affirmations are typically, I am beautiful, I am strong, I am, etc., etc. And for me, for that one, what has come up after doing this for a long time is people want to learn and expand, and they want to learn from me. I am in demand. I am of value. So after many years of resisting positive affirmations, I have finally come to an understanding of how that works for me. And I think that's what we always need to remember when we're doing these things. And when we're listening to podcasts like this and when we're reading books, is just because that's the way that it's said to be doesn't mean that your way is right or wrong. If your way works for you, then it's the right way for you. So I love that I was able to take what I learned from the book, use it, grow from it, and now get to this new position where positive affirmations are something that I said I get now, I guess is probably the best way to put it. So there's more here. There's the how to become more positive. There's the mindfulness and meditation. So we talked about practicing gratitude, something you have to practice. Your affirmations is something that you work at. It's not black and white. And we also practice meditation. Meditation is something that I struggle with. It's very hard for me to get into this Zen state that everybody talks about with meditation. And that's why I remember and remind myself that it's a practice. I'm practicing meditation. I struggle turning my brain off. It's very busy in there. So I have learned to not beat myself up about that. That if I am working on my meditation in the morning and it's really cluttered in there, I'll try and calm it down, and I'll try and, bring that focus to the start of my day. But it's something that I work at. Today when I was talking, I said it was like this bookshelf with all these books on it. And if I don't quiet it down, they start to just move wherever they want to. And that's what it's like inside my brain. It's all these books on a bookshelf. And if I don't take a little bit and just calm it down with some meditation, just trying to silence it just a little bit, they just start to move all over. And if I can calm it down enough, they'll just kind of stay in their right order so that I can start my day just a little bit more clear-headed. So mindfulness and meditation is a way that we can learn to be more positive because we're intentionally taking some time to clear our thoughts, remove some of that negativity so that we can start the day or continue the day after meditation clear-headed. Another practice could be having a network of positive people. So the best part about this conversation is we were around a bunch of positive people, because in our group at TUF Coffee Shop Talk, that's really what we are. Because typically people who have a negative mindset aren't searching for an environment with a bunch of positive people. Positive people are going to hunt out positive people. And that is a big draw for people. Like, that is a big part of the reason why many of my members are there, is because they need that safe place where they can express themselves, but also know that they have people around them that can help pick them up. Because in honesty, we all can't be positive all the time. That's not how we work. So when you have a network of people that you can go to that will have some optimism for you, they can help pick you up and just kind of start the ball rolling down the hill for you so that you can get back on track and have a little bit more positivity in your day. So yes, have a network of positive people. And then, like we mentioned before, you would set realistic goals. So setting those goals so that you can achieve them will give you that rush so that you can have that positivity and then tackle the next goal. And these goals you can have daily goals, you can have weekly, monthly, annually. It's like I have goals 6 years out, and all of them have a purpose. So if you set a goal for today, like we talked about, there are some people that have to set the goal to get up and come to TUF Coffee Shop Talk. That is, by coming, a big achievement for them. Simply because sometimes it's hard to just get out of bed. Let's face it, life can be pretty hard sometimes. And sometimes you just don't want to get out of bed. Having that as a goal, that I'm going to go to TUF Coffee Shop Talk this week, and I'm going to force myself to get out of bed because I know when I get there, it's going to be worth it. Celebrate that. Because when you're done, you're like, I did it. And it was totally worth it. So it can be goals for the day, the week, whatever. But set realistic goals so that you can achieve them and get that adrenaline rush of that achievement. And then the last piece that Megan talked about, and this was fun because it was a different perspective than mine, is that she needs outdoors, nature, to be able to lift her out of a funk or to enlighten her day. Because sometimes, life will bring you down a little bit. And for her, if she can just go spend some time outdoors, she will be lifted up again. So she did a little bit of research into this to see, what is that? Like, why is that for me, and what's behind that? So she had some information. So exposure to nature. In a study published in the Journal of Environmental Science and Technology, analysts data from 20,000 participants in the UK, participants who spent At least 2 hours a week in green spaces were significantly more likely to report good health and higher psychological well-being compared to those who didn't. Physical activity, being outside generally includes physical activity. Obviously, exercise releases endorphins, which enhances your mood and reduces feelings of stress and anxiety. So because when we're outdoor, we're typically doing something physical, like we're going through a walk through the park, or maybe we're playing, catch or throwing a ball, or, whatever that might be, that of course increases endorphins, which increases our mood. Sunlight. So in Canada, we don't see the sun for quite a bit in the wintertime. And that's when depression goes way up, because we're just not getting that sunlight. So by getting outside or having that sunlight, it increases the production of serotonin, which helps with our mental state. Fresh air. Getting outside and having some fresh air provides increased energy levels, improved concentration, and mental clarity. And just a break in your routine. So instead of staring at because many of us work at a computer or in an environment where it's very repetitive, having that break in your routine can be very refreshing and just help reset what's going on in your mind to allow you to come back to some positive thoughts. And she just concludes here with, positive thinking is a skill that can be developed with practice. By focusing on positive aspects of our lives, ourselves, we are gradually transform our outlook and improve your overall well-being. Positive thinking needs to be nurtured and given constant attention in order to develop, all while challenging negative thoughts, because we have them, they exist. You just need to find a routine or a system that works for you and ask for help when you need it. I love that she ends on this, because that's a piece that we often are missing. We force ourselves to live in a little bit of a bubble where we don't want to bother other people with our problems, or we don't want to burden people. But truly, if you came to me and said, "Hey, Rhonda, I just need to talk. I know you have, you're always uplifting and, you have a great attitude. I just need to be around you so that I can, brighten my day a little bit." I'm not going to say no. I'm going to embrace that as an opportunity for us to connect. And if all it takes is a conversation for me to help you make your day better, it's an easy win for me. And just know that anytime that those conversations happen, and not just with me, but with other people, anytime you have that kind of conversation and you make that connection with someone else, it's also beneficial to them. So yes, selfishly, you're going to want to have that conversation, but they also benefit from that conversation. It's nice to feel needed. It's nice to be able to help people. And we aren't given that opportunity as much as we used to, simply because people are going through life so quickly that we feel we don't want to burden other people. Yet, we, as the other people, are missing out on that, even though we may not even realize that it's missing. So yeah, that was our talk on positivity. Conversation, clearly I love, because I get excited about it. You can tell. And it's something that I work at all the time, because I want to find the good in people, the good in situations, because when I do that, I grow. So if I find the good in a bad situation, I can learn from it and I can grow. When I see the good in something, in someone else who I maybe didn't see the good in before, I'll grow, because I'll get to see maybe their point of view or their side of the story, or what makes them struggle, which just helps make me a better person. So I just encourage you to spend some time intentionally trying to break a negative cycle, and know that we all go through it. Having a negative tailspin, or having something bad happen, or having a bad day, or thinking poorly where you're having negative thoughts about someone or a situation or whatever. It's normal. We all do it.
Well, that concludes our episode this week. Thanks so much for being here. It really does mean a lot to me. If you haven't already, please subscribe or hit that follow button, as I'd love if you came back week to week. If you're looking for more information on the membership, check out tufinstitute.com. Or if you want more information on me and my real estate business, check out theurbanfarmhousesaskatoon.com. Looking for my socials? I'm on Instagram as rhonda_tuf and on Facebook at The Urban Farmhouse Saskatoon or Rhonda Lavoie-The Urban Farmhouse and eXp Realty. DM me anytime. I'd love to hear from you. I really hope you have a marvelous week, and I can't wait to bring you an episode again next week.